Alright, hi and welcome to the second video on the GM IM Norm Invitational. Today I'll be recapping the games from day 2 in the current standings. So in the GM group, I am Andrew Tang has emerged as the clear leader. He has a score of 2.5 out of 3 plus 2. After winning his first 2 games, he drew last night against GM Ringuar. Has won with white and drawn with black, so if he can keep that up, that'll certainly be good for his norming chances. Um, Andrew is looking for his third GM norm. He already has the rating, so if he can get his norm here in Charlotte, he will become a Grandmaster. I am Cheka, also another top junior player. Won his first game against GM Zapata, and then had a draw in round 2 and 3. I am Panjwani, drew his first 2 games, and then defeated FM Wang with black last night. I am Mendiza, originally from Zimbabwe. Lost his first game, but then rebounded nicely with wins in rounds 2 and 3. We'll look at one of his games later. A very exciting player with with all decisive results so far. GM Ringuar, originally from Belgium, has yet to lose in all 21 games in Charlotte. He's been to all 3 GM IM Norm Invitationals. Started off solidly with 3 draws here. I am Tiglon, another top junior player. Has drawn all 3 of his games thus far. And then FM Wang, looking to achieve 2400 rating to get the IM title. He already has 3 norms. He drew his first round and then defeated GM Zapata, but lost last night against IM Panjwani. GM Alonso Zapata lives in Atlanta, Georgia, so not too far away from Charlotte. Rebounded nicely from losing his first 2 games with a win over GM Boros last night. And then we have GM Boros on Michael Lee, both with -2 scores so far, so not the best start, but hopefully they'll be able to rebound here in rounds 4 through 9. Okay, on to the IM group. All players, by the way, need a score of 6.5 out of 9 to obtain a norm, in regardless of what section. Okay, looks like we have some updated results here. So current standings, I am Del Campo with a score of 2.5 out of 4 plus 1. Del Campo has played in all 3 GM IM Norm Invitationals. He's originally from Mexico. Lives in Mexico right now, I believe. FM Sinha with a score of 2.5 out of 4 plus 1 as well. Won his first round and then has drawn all 3 games since. I am Bora with an even score. 2 draws, a win and a loss. And then FM Furfine with a score of +1 with 2 out of 3. Drew his first 2 games and then was able to defeat I am Bora last night. We'll take a look at that game here shortly. Young, talented player, FM Christopher Yu, won his first game against I am Young and then had 2 draws to follow, so good start for him. FM Shankar lost his first game but rebounded with a win over NM Ludwig in round 2 and then drew Del Campo in round 3. Shankar is looking to achieve 2400 rating. He already has enough IM norms. As soon as he gets to 2400, he'll achieve the title. Ben Moon with a very solid start. He has all 3 draws. He's looking to achieve his first IM norm here in Charlotte. John Ludwig with a score of 1 out of 3, -1. He's looking for his third IM norm. If he gets his norm here, he will have obtained the IM title. And then International Master Angela Young lost his first 2 games, but has had 2 draws since, with a score of 1 out of 4, -2. And then FM Burrows has 2 draws and 1 loss, -1 score. Okay, so let's take a look at some of the games. Okay, this is a game between International Master Michael Lee and International Master Farai Mendiza. The game started out with the move knight f3. Okay, so white plays d4. Certainly another option would have been to go g3, play an English opening, but d4 sort of clarifies the position. It's going to be King's Indian defense. H3 shows Makhaghanov variation, where white often plays on the king side and black plays on the queen side. All these moves are somewhat theoretical. Queen c2, I think knight d2 is for some reason more common. But anyways, queen c2. a5. Okay, knight d2 happens anyways. Bishop d7. Another idea here is to go a4 immediately. If white gets too greedy, win a pawn, black gets a lot of pressure on the dark squares and obtains a nice position. Okay, but bishop d7, certainly another move in the position. Bishop e2. Black tries to open up the c file with c takes d5. White decides to recapture with e pawn, claiming control of the c file. Okay, and white castles queenside. This sort of signifies that we're going to have an extremely exciting game. White will try to play on the king side, whereas black will try to attack on the queen side. a4, trying to get in a3, maybe with a little bit of preparation by queen a5. Sorry. Okay, a4. King b1, common move in all games where you've queenside castled is just to play king b1, better square for the king. And then queen a5. Okay, so f3. F3 is to shore up the g-pawn, to prepare the move h4 to get some kingside attack going. But computer recommends a3 to stop black from playing a3 himself and slow down the attack just a little bit. Maybe a crucial moment, I'm not sure. Okay, so a3, black seizes the opportunity, plays it immediately. b3, and b5, opening up more files on the queen side. Knight to e4. And black comes up with an extremely nice tactical shot here. Knight takes d5. Pawn takes d5. Knight takes. Okay, and originally it looks like, oh, I can just take this and I'm up a piece. But black has the move queen c3, where queen b2 mate is like impossible to stop. Only way to do so is knight c4. But black will not capture back with the pawn here. Capture back with a rook. And there's no way to stop. Rook takes queen and queen b2 mate. Move like bishop c1 is forced, and then black is just up material with rook takes queen. Okay, so white avoided this line and played bishop takes c5. Mouse is frozen. Oh, it's because it's white's. It's not white's move. Bishop takes c5. Rook takes c5. Okay, and notice that the move knight takes c5 is like not possible here. Knight c3 check. If white just goes king c1, knight takes e2 will happen, and it's a windmill tactic. Gonna pick up all the material. If white goes king a1, we'll run into even more problems with bishop opening up on this long diagonal. Okay, so white could not do this move. Instead, he played queen d3. And then black played rook c8, leaving the knight and rook hanging. Definitely an aesthetically pleasing move to make. And white decided to capture. Again, the problem with knight takes c5 is knight c3 check. And after pawn takes knight, it may originally look like this queen is getting trapped. Because if white goes knight takes c3, rook takes c3, queen e4, f5 will be played, and the queen is run out of squares. But obviously white saw this idea, and after rook c3, he played knight c4, attacking black's queen. So black responds with rook takes c4. White's queen is still under attack, so queen d2. And it's very difficult for black to save both of these rooks. So black plays rook takes e4, f takes e4, Queen b4. Attacking the e4 pawn, you don't want to allow queen takes e4 with check. Also preparing some rook takes b3 ideas maybe. So white goes king a1, and now black finds a very nice move to practically end the game. Bishop h6. If white simply goes queen e1, bishop e3 will occur, and the bishop's coming to d4. White will have to sacrifice material, and the attack will not be over from black. More attacking moves will follow, even after white has to sacrifice the exchange. Okay, so white took the bishop, and now rook takes b3. Beautiful moves here by black. If pawn takes rook, queen c3 is going to lead to mate on b2. And if white does something like, I don't know, queen c1, mate is still going to occur. Rook b1, queen takes b1, mate, right? Okay, I'm not sure actually where white resigned, but it was shortly after this move, rook takes b3. So very nice attacking game here played by IM Mandiza. Let's look at our next game. This game also started out with knight f3. White was IM Safal Bora, and then black was FM Jacob Furfine. This time black decided to play d5. White plays like a King's Indian setup, but then here goes d4. Knight d2, sort of signaling an e4 break. White further prepares this e4 move. There it is. a5, playing on the queen side a little bit. I don't think black wants to take this pawn. Yeah, if you get to a position like this, white has good control of the center. Certainly not an insane advantage, but very pleasant position to play for white. So, okay, black wanted something a little bit more double-edged. a5, c3, a4, h3. Okay, so this move h3 sort of is allowing for maybe g4 to be an important in-between move at some point. You don't want to go g4 right away because the move is available forever. You want to time g4 correctly. So he goes e5, and now we've obtained like a very much like a French pawn structure where black's going to play c5. Notice how these move a5, a4. Also, black is trying to undermine white's pawn chain at the base, a3 potentially. White goes knight f1, preparing to move like knight e3, maybe even g4, and then knight g3. Potentially even knight h2. The knight has a lot of options from this square knight on f1, also opening up the bishop on c1. Black goes c5, move you would expect to see. Now this looks very much like a French, right? And white decides to blow the position up, c4. Black captured. d5. Pawn takes. Queen takes. Okay, in this position alone, looks really like aesthetically pleasing for white. He's attacking b7. He's attacking c4. Maybe even playing e6. Oh, sorry, he played g4 first. Okay, after bishop g6, queen takes d5. Knight c6 was played. Queen takes c4. Knight b6. Queen e2. And very quickly, the position with the queen on d5 has turned into this. And black has a very solid piece on d3. Definitely a slight advantage for black here. Knight comes out to e3, improving the position of the knight. Bishop b4, attacking this rook. Only one good way to save it, bishop d2. So bishop b4, forcing exchanges of dark squared bishops. a3, bishop takes. Pawn takes b2. Bishop takes f8. B takes a1. And this was all just a trade of material. However, white's may be left with this weak a2 pawn, and black still has this very strong pawn on c4. Okay, so knight f5 was played. White's sort of saying, you have this strong bishop on d3, but I have a knight on f5, and I don't think black wants to capture at any point in time. So knight b4 was played, attacking a2. Queen to d4, attacking the knight on b6. Knight goes to a4. Very good choice of squares, I think, here. As you'll see later in the game, the knight comes to c5 and does some damage. e6 was played. F takes e6. Rook takes e6. So white now starting to get a little bit of attack on the king. Knight c6 attacking the queen. Queen d5. Rook a5. Can't allow for discovered checks. So queen d7. And I don't know if white thought that he was going to get compensation here. It certainly looks a little unclear. After knight c5, queen d5, knight takes e6, queen takes e6. If black goes queen f7, white will go queen c8, and at least pick up this pawn for the exchange. So black goes king h8, knight to g5, knight d8, preventing knight f7 check. Queen to b6. I'm going to try to pick up the b7 pawn. And also this queen on f8 is tied down to the knight for now. Rook a8. Knight d4. Black goes queen f6. Forking the queen trade and the knight. Of course, white does not want to trade queens here, down in exchange. So queen b5 played. Bishop g6. Okay, and black seems to have gotten out of the worst of it and went on to convert this into a win after quite many more moves, actually, like 40 more moves. But okay. Thank you guys for watching. Tune in tomorrow again for a recap video of rounds 4 and 5. And stay tuned to the games.